look like it's going to be a Falcons win, but never count out anyone here at the Esports World Cup featuring Fortnite. Now it looks like we're ready to get into our first game of the day here between Falcons and Zeta Division, and we've got a little bit of Chalet CTF to kick things off.
Yeah, the pros, of course, will call this old map CTF. This is the one they've been playing for months and months. This is, of course, the map that you would have seen at the DreamHack qualifiers as well as the Face It online qualifiers as well. If you've been paying attention to anything here in the EWC Fortnite modes, you've been watching a lot of this, whether you're watching the VODs online, whether you're catching up on the latest scrims. This is what we've been seeing for quite some time. They're going to see some new map mode combinations coming in as well, but this is really the bread and butter of EWC featuring Fortnite, and we are officially underway here with our group stage.
Here we go then, everybody. This is the moment we've been waiting for. The players have been expecting to get out to a hot start here, and for Falcons fans, I'm sure they're expecting exactly the same thing. And an interesting opening strategy here. Usually a lot of it is based around utility and baiting that out for either team.
Ooh, look at Zeta playing this slow. Yeah, just kind of just a little bit of 3P baiting here in tunnel from Yuma. See if that pays off for them. Right now, a lot of, look at the central presence here coming in from Falcons. Really going in with an opening, just trying to fly right at their opponent's window.
The kills being picked up as well, so they clean out the balcony, and they should have access towards house, but mid-map battle is still continuing here. Mini Pro Hero managed to get one, and Titan already has that flag moving, and this is a hot, quick start coming out of Falcons.
Really nice from Falcons. They get the 2 dead, they get the limbs that they needed, and that flag's going to continue moving here. We'll see if he's able to bring it all the way back. We'll make
pulled away as you extend and try and secure it back at your base, and it looks like they're doing a pretty good job at the moment. Yapko in mid-map at the moment, looking around the white truck, and it looks like they got the kills just to slow down any counter-cap attempt.
And I gotta say, if you've been keeping up with the action, whether it's on Jacob's channel, the Aussie Antics coverage, if you watch the DreamHack qualifiers, that was a very non-traditional start there, right? That was very, very slow. Falcons just tear apart the slow start from Zeta. They go flood central, they get right into the flagpole, they pull that right away, and as you said, they brought that flag in with 53 seconds of play, already leading 1-0. 3:30 left in the round.
Let's go Zeta.
Now Falcons seem to just be fine for a little bit of mid-map control. You can see the Yapko just find one. Tyson doubling up with him as well, and that's some beautiful baiting and switching. Mini Hero here's got to be careful and make sure he doesn't extend to give away his life. Doesn't manage to do so, which is a good bit of news for him. However, if he challenges, the bomb goes down, that'll be his life falling. But this has just been a scrap for mid-map, and you've got to say, Falcons have control for a number of reasons here. Not just the flag on the board, but traditionally, you would say it's the weaker side to attack.
Falcon 1, Zeta Division 0. Okay.
Koyota is able to work with the squad to get out of their base for the first time in a while, but not a lot of time before this round wraps. And he's going to slowly start to make the tunnel push again, but Teeny wants to check that angle.
Okay, let's see. Toyota versus...
He's given as good as he gets. Yapko playing very, very slow at the moment, and he's actually going for a cheeky little pull, and this is going to make everybody turn around. And even though 2 Falcons players have fallen inside of their base, this distraction for Yapko might create an opportunity and force them to turn around and make some plays. There's the body.
Nice shot
to follow up on the kill himself, but now you can see that the wrap is coming in here from Yuma. They will get that return home, and this could be an opportunity for a cap to come in now from Zeta Division.
Let's see what they can do. Chicho's going to fly in, get that right away. Zeta actually wrapping this. They can get through the choke. It's a key angle. They should be able to bring this one home. Mini Pollo on the escort as well. They will cap in the end. What looked like it was going to be a Falcons wrap again, in the end, is still 1-1. We heard that Zeta Division had been working on each of these modes tirelessly since the qualifier, and just like that, they now find themselves here tied 1-1. 1:53 left on the clock.
What we Yapko then? You're going to get the first one onto Mini Hero. Now he's going to jump up to the balcony and try and push through the front of the house. However, you can see mid-map being held out right now. Like Koyota, great shots, good damage onto a second as well, but in the meantime, he doesn't have that flag moving. So next set of kills is going to be vital as to what happens to that flag. And you can see Titan already got that flag through Paul and back towards house. This could be a cap here for Falcons.
This is the angle. Can he get through this choke? He gets through the choke somehow, even though Zeta had the pressure. They got the limbs they needed, and they start to push mid-map. However, off-screen, undoubtedly, as you saw in the mini-map, really good holding of the angle. Taysom will bring in what is the second flag. They need 2-1. 1:13 left in the round.
That's one of those little heartbreakers, right? You work so hard to get a flag on the board just to tie the game up, and then almost with the next play, you find yourself in the same position you battle so hard to get out of. So Koyota now trying to buy a little bit of time for the rest of his team to push up and help him. Unfortunately, the teammates who were closest, they got taken down, and Falcons clean out their base. And now it's a move towards mid-map for them. And Tyson already pretty much 2/3 of the way up the map here, putting pressure onto the Zeta Division supporters.
Here comes the K push. This is the angle you expect. Right now, getting all the limbs they needed. You saw 3 in the feet. Actually, Tayson's going to wrap around back flag here to see if he can flank in. They're going to find the
okay, let's go.
Zagudo with a very nice job. You expect Chicho to finish that, but no, instead, it's really good defense coming in from Zagu.
Making sure it plays his life as well. By doing so, buys enough time for teammates to get in the position to help clean up the damage that he has started. So a really good job there from Zagu to make sure that he was not giving away his life, not giving away a cheeky opportunity for that flag to start scarpering away from his face.
What a shot, Zagu.
That run going, and on the marksman, he doing some big damage.
Zagu doing very well here. 12 seconds left, though, as we know, no sudden death rule, so these will just be really the limbs for the scoreboard as that flag is not being ran back, and you'll know that this one will just time out. A little bit of extra kills being exchanged. We'll now have a round swap. Falcons leading 2-1, and I think based off of the poll results, Mark, when we were polling the audience, not a lot of people would have expected this narrow of a margin heading into our second round, but let's not forget, with the base swap and with Falcons scoring twice from their side, you might expect them to take this round pretty easily. Yeah, you would say they've just managed to, as you say, get into an advantageous position with the score.
The God level player.
Traditionally what is seen as the weakest side here on Chalet. So now that they're playing from red side, this is an opportunity for them to, well, I was going to say an opportunity for them to maybe feel a little bit more comfortable, but I want to focus on this opening strategy and what happens here, because let's take ourselves back to that first round, right? It was an instantaneous cap coming in from Falcons from their opening strategy.
Chicho takes a lot of nade damage in central, however, is able to stay alive for a little bit now, and no one falling just yet off the opening. Kills exchange finally. KQF falls to the hands of Teeny, and that'll be the first advantage as they try to make the push happen.
2-1, okay.
Trying to control pull.
What a shot!
What a shot! Teams to try and play around as this is the pivot of the map.
Nice shot, bro. Nice shot, Zagu.
In towards the windows,
Zagu, oh my god.
Take a little bit of damage.
Zagu,
stay alive here on the white
bro.
but he's trying to pick away those toenails,
what
but
a
instead,
shot.
it's going to be a rearranging of the hair follicles. Good shots
What
coming in from
a
Teeny.
shot by Teeny.
Coming in as well to the force player just above the pickup truck, and now they're going to start to make their mid-map move as well. Chicho is going to exchange kills. KQF picking up one as well.
He's doing such a good job at the moment, just controlling that pull area.
What the
as we jump
hell,
on board
the
with him,
shot?
now he can start to just put a little bit more pressure on, stepping up, but not too far away from his team to be able to back down and wait for that support to arrive. Chicho now.
2 Falcon or 1 Zeta.
Outside on the balcony, and you can see the Falcons just taking their time on this one, and I like this, right? You've got to get the numbers, you've got to get those
What is your
wins
supporting team, Falcon or Zeta?
Nice job turtling, just holding and going front base. We know those are not easy kills to get when you have to wrap on your front base. They should be able to clean up this one on Tayson as well. Oh, Tayson says no, though, and somehow picks up 2 from a defensive position, and that will now start to run what looked like a great defensive maneuver coming in from Zeta is shut down right away. KQF needs to make the push. Yapko on the run. Damage on that cross, though. You saw a little bit of damage.
Let's
trying to get around that corner, and even though the shields are going to be chipped away at, the shields are still intact. Yapko will be able to run this one home. Nobody in position as Falcons will hold mid-map, and that is another flag now going in for Team Falcons. 3-1 with just over 3 minutes left in this round. Yapko with the dynamite in towards the tunnel as well, trying to help out his teammate Teeny, but Hero, he's putting some good shots down, and that's going to be a double for him. How about that play from Tayson? Just in a situation where he has no business getting the first kill, gets both kills on that tunnel side push, wins a battle that is not easy to do, and they're able to get the pull right away. Zeta Division was 4-stacked on the flag. Team Falcons absolutely take advantage of that. They collapsed perfectly and follow it up with a perfect flag run, just 2:41 left. Chicho trying to use that bubble. The MP is going to take that out of commission for now, but look at Yapko cleaning out his base, and that's something that I've got to commend from what I've seen from Falcons at the moment is the kind of knowledge of where players are and how many are alive, right? So many times we see them step into a position and only kind of creep up once they know they've got some eliminations to go alongside it. Falcons making sure that their map presence is dominant in around the mid-map, but this is the first time for quite some time we've actually seen some pressure coming in from Zeta. Now you're going to see a little bit of a challenge onto Tierney. Mini Piro wants to finish off this kill, but Tierney being a difficult kill, finally gets taken down, but has he bought enough time now for Falcons to respawn? You see Chicho doing exactly that in front of him. Yeah, I think he has. Bubble will go down as well. Worth mentioning here, we haven't seen... Oh, he gets absolutely picked here by Zagu. Zagu's going to continue holding forward as well. And as you said, stayed alive long enough, bought a little bit of time for Falcons, but been pretty impressed here. Right now, the limbs have really been going the way of the side of Zeta over these past few. They've got about 6 of the last 10 kills. We'll see if they can continue this streak. Another couple getting picked up as well, and now you see Yapko, a couple of players causing him problems. The bubble is down as well, which is going to allow the flag carrier to escape. But Tayson's escaping the gunfire at the moment, and he's just sent that flag home. You saw there was an opportunity there, but as we always say in any game mode, there's an FPS, you gotta hit your shots. That's a hero play from Tayson. The flag is still being ran once again, though. It's a second pull. We'll see if Yapko can win this from the back of the base. If he is, Tayson and Yapko are going to fly tunnel side. Yapko's going to be chasing down Hero. He has that flag still in his hands, and he does it indeed, but it's going to be sent back home, and
A couple of nervy moments there, Andy.
Yeah, really nervy moments. Teeny with a really big win mid-map to make sure he gets to the end of the cut-off as well. Tayson does so well, once again, just pick up a kill. That's not the first time. We've seen this in DreamHack qualifiers and in scrims as well. Tayson manages to spawn in his chalet, and he'll get into tunnel, and he'll cut that flag off and do the damage. And by the time, unsurprising to see not only our MVP at DreamHack Dallas, but of course one of the most legendary players to ever play the game. You could even say the greatest of all time to have flag cutoffs like that. 47 seconds left. Team Falcons up 3-1.
3-1 and looking like they just want to slow things down a little bit here. Offense is usually something you put as a secondary option when you're up by 3 flags, excuse me, to 1 with a 2-flag advantage. Just got to prioritize making sure that your base is clear and that nobody's going to be progressing up the map. The Falcons actually pressurizing the respawners here, and I think they know the job is done as long as they can maybe put this 4th flag in. Tayson is away with it. It's a clean run home, and from the kills that we were seeing being picked up, those are limbs. They're happening the other side of the map all together, so that's a clear run.
That is a clear run. Tayson says, why not? Let's throw another flag on the board here for even more statistical advantage in the end. This will be a victory lap here. 5 seconds to go in game number 1.
5 seconds to go, just ticking down now. It's a formality at this point, and I tell you what, the people at home, they know what they're voting for, as Falcons will win here. CTF on Chalet, 4-1.
You just tell it's business as usual for this side, right? Not even an exchange of fist pounds or really any emotion from their side. They know they're here for a reason. They're coming in with the #1 seed, and they've got business to attend to. This is just the group stage. That first game is going to be easily taken. Let's not forget, though, they were tied 1-1 as we take a look at some highlights in just a moment. 1-1 early on, however, 4-1 in the end, just showing that they were able to play really the full distance of both of those rounds very comfortably taken in the end.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you're looking at moments within games, regardless of what game it is, of what stage of the series, there's always a couple that jump out to you. And if you're Zeta Division, you're coming into this first match, you know, you're focused, you know that you're probably the underdog coming into the match, and you want to be able to at least keep it at a stalemate for quite some time to build some confidence into the game. But the way the Falcons came out of the gates, capping in under 60 seconds, that just kind of breaks you a little bit in between the ears to make you feel like maybe this is going to be a lot tougher than you prepared for.
It really does, especially as we look at some of the highlights from that game number 1. You know, when we're looking at DreamHack results, when we're looking at scrims, these tend to be often fairly low scoring. So to be on the side of the division, and within 53 seconds, see your flag already not just pulled, but already capped, really showed a fantastic opening coming in for Falcons. You know they had that early game strat ready. You saw a very slow start from Zeta, really just kind of trying to 3P their corners, playing a slow strat through tunnel and through cave side. Instead, Falcons triple stacks mid, and they send 1 player on the flag run. It just works out perfectly. And really from there, even though we saw a momentary stalemate, they never looked back thereafter.
It's very kind of, I would say, typical of what we've seen from Falcons a lot in the CTF gameplay. They like to get numbers and flood one side, right? Knowing that 3 guns is always better than 1 or 2. If they can isolate one side of the map and open up one of those lanes, they're not going to hold the angle. They're going to flood it, like I say, play that death ball kind of play style where they all fly through to get those limbs, and then if you get the flag moving back and you keep a couple of players alive, like we saw from Tayson a few times there, the flag run is going to have that support. Player in front of him or supporting him on that flag run is always going to be able to do damage, and then it's just about holding the hand on the way back and getting that flag home.
It really is. We saw some also just late game, really nice composure. You saw, especially on what was the 3rd flag, you saw from Tayson, just really nice kind of 1v2s that he's pulling off, and it's of course not easy to do when you're talking about the kill times that you see in this mode, in zero build, just to isolate the way that they do. And I think we saw moments of good teamwork coming in Zeta there. I think not only the flag cap, but there were times where they should have really gotten pulls as well thereafter. But in the end, just shows the Falcons' experience, not just here in these game modes, but also in all of zero build as well as FNCS. It just pays off at the end.
Yeah, 100%, and I think you're quite right. It's experience, right? When you're looking at the way that Falcons are running those flags, in comparison to the good moments the Zeta Division had there, it felt like Zeta Division would get eliminations and start stacking up, but they never felt like they were designed in a way that was going to clear a path for the flag to start running. It was like, okay, we've got this, now what? Their kind of secondary thought was not quite in the same kind of progress when it came to moving that flag and get it on the way home. In comparison to Falcons, Falcons look like they had plan A, which is obviously play for one side, get those eliminations, clear a lane, and then we play off the back of that. And it's very difficult to play against that when you've got a team that's so in sync.
It really is. And one thing that's interesting too is we didn't see a ton of utility usage there from really either side. We saw very limited use of bubbles, which I think we're going to keep an eye on throughout the entire weekend, and also just all utility uses from Falcons as well. Sounds like we're getting ready to get into game number 2 in just a moment. We'll go to a quick break, and we'll be right back with more EWC featuring Fortnite.
Sports World Cup featuring Fortnite, and the gentlemen on your screen are going to be feeling very good about what we just saw in that map #1. Falcons versus Zeta Division is the match we have on our main stage right now, and after a Chalet CTF win of 4-1, you can probably understand why the vibes are probably pretty good.
Yeah, undoubtedly, especially what we just saw from the entire squad across the board. Just a dominant performance, the one you expect, not only coming off of their dominant run at DreamHack Dallas, but also just the pedigree of these players on your screen, especially led by that MVP. 5 times FNCS winner, and also first place at FNCS 2023 Europe. Tayson, the man who was holding it down with some pivotal battles to make that game easy for his squad as they pull it out. And also you saw Yapko starting to pop off as well with the marksman role, and I think we're going to be keeping a very close eye. It doesn't feel like, in terms of specific role and utility, that Falcons was challenged in that game. I think we saw one example where Chicho felt like he needed to pre-bubble on the kind of the battle with the flag as he was pushing in, trying to just like trap cave side. I think they're going to be tested in a lot more ways throughout the rest of their matches, not only in groups but throughout the bracket. We'll have to see if Zeta can bounce back. As that first match indicated, it will not be an easy series for them.
Well, as we get ready to get into map #2, it's only right that we hear from a team who maybe are thinking about how they get back into this series a little bit. We caught up with MiniPiro just before this map got underway.
Joined by MiniPio from Zeta Division, kind of preparing before he goes into his first big match. It's the opening match of the tournament, and it's against none other than the DreamHack Dallas winners, Falcons. So, MiniPio, I want to say, first of all, your qualifier was incredible. You stomped, you 3-0'd basically everyone to be here at this competition. But like we've just said, you're up against the DreamHack Dallas winners. How's your confidence? Is it slightly rocked, or how are you feeling?
で予選大会はすごくうまくいきましたけれども、全チーム全相手をほとんど 3-0 で勝利できましたけれども、今回初戦の相手はドリームハックの優勝したファルコンスなんですけれども、このような強いチームと戦うのは自信がありますか？勝てると思いますか？それともちょっとなんか緊張してますか？
はい、ドリームハック1位で最強なのは正気の上なんですけど、いや緊張もあるし、勝てるかなっていうところもあるんですけど、精一杯の力出して勝っていきたいと思います。
So obviously, like Falcons are extremely good team. They won the DreamHack venture. We saw that. So there is a little bit of nervousness in us. Not gonna lie, but we're confident. We will do whatever we can. We want to win. We know we can win, and we'll just basically give our all on stage.
We think it's going to be an amazing opening match. Now, since you qualified, Keeper has been added into the roster of game modes that you're going to be playing. Has that been your main focus coming into this tournament because it's such a new game mode?
予選大会を突破してからキーパーという新しいゲームモードを追加されたんですけれども、この新しいモードを予選勝ってから焦点しました、フォーカスしましたか？
キーパーもそうですけど、他のやつももっと昔より強くなれるように練習したのもあるし、新しいゲームモードキーパーは結構難しいところもあるんですけど、それをしっかり練習して勝てるようにしてきました。
So yeah, we practiced a lot the new game mode, obviously, but we also didn't neglect the other modes. We practiced everything. However, I have to say Keeper is a pretty difficult game mode in our opinion, so we practice it a lot just to get as good as possible, as strong as possible in this, but also in other game modes.
First game is going to be a big test as well. So is there anything that you would like to say to Falcons ahead of your first game?
Look at Hardpoint here at the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, Hardpoint, of course, going to be, once again, not surprisingly on Chalet. These players very comfortable on the old map here and very comfortable on Chalet itself, even opting for that in terms of the vetoes over your classic Hardpoint map in Panther. See who's out to get an early lead here. It's already Falcons with 31 on the board of the first batch.
This is uncontested at the start of this for Team Falcons. And we talk about these neutral hills, these neutral hardpoints being the ones where we usually see the game being decided when we get down to those final moments. And this P1 is being completely and utterly dominated here by Falcons. You can see all of Zeta at the moment just stuck in a respawn, having a flood as a 4, and Chicho's going to get so much information on where they're coming from.
4 stack here. Chicho just 3P, and that stays alive throughout the entirety of it. Already 55 seconds on the board here. Zeta trying to 4 stack. They cannot get into the hard point. It's a really great hold here early on coming in from Falcons. Finally, a few kills will go by the way of Zeta Division. However, still being held out. It's an early rotate coming in as well from Tayson and Teeny. They're going to hold on point 2 as well. This could be over absurdly fast.
This is getting a little bit out of hand. I mean, P1 is usually a hotly contested one, right? And now we're seeing Falcons not only with that, but also been in position to rotate for the next. Teeny inside of this hill for now. No shields, but still got that health to work with, playing behind the Jeep. And you can see the Coyote trying to use that bubble as an entry point for them. Will step into the hard point to contest and slow that time down. And finally, some kills start going their way. But you got to deal with Teeny, and they cannot deal with him. Finally, he will be taken out. It's actually Tyson who has been a little bit of a nuisance in the back of the base.
Yeah, Yapko was helping on the doorway as well. Eventually, Yapko's taken down. Look at Mini Pio just taking 2 kills in the feed. Going to hold down. Nice work, though. Coming in from Tayson in the end. Just rallies back to get that extra kill and keep things interesting here. But not before we have a 97-10 point lead for Team Falcons.
It looks like they have given this one up. They're rotating for that third hard point. So it's pretty dominant. It's pretty much the only way I can kind of phrase it. Coming in from Falcons at the start of this game. 100 points already on the board. Now is the difficulty for them, though. They have to break. They don't have spawns for this P3 as well. So it's going to be a continual battle and a continual flood through the front for Falcons.
Yeah, Zeta finally has the points on the board. A pre-bubble does come in for Chicho and Teeny. Very, very nice work coming in from Falcons. They make clinical SWAT team-esque work. They're pre-bubble to enter, and they do it perfectly. Now they are scoring it again.
And look at the speed at which they're trying to push out the lanes of the respawn as well. Even though Zeta Division are going to be spawning closest to this hard point, they can't even access it at the moment because Falcons are already pushed up on them. And now we're seeing the flood come in. The counter flood is here from Falcons. Yuma trying to do what he can. He's going to find 2 in the feed. Chicho trying to be a nuisance, and he will be that nuisance. He gets the final kill, and that'll be more time for Falcons.
That's a clean wipe. That's 4 dead. A little bit staggered, but really good timing here on the side of Falcons in terms of getting the kills the way they did. Zeta all in that push once again. That's not the first time we've seen it. They are not trying to take their lanes and slow down. They are just stacking their pushes. So far, it has not paid off for them. A 100-point lead still for Falcons on the board.
So Zeta Division with the spawns for that hill still weren't able to get the majority of that time. Now we move to one of those neutral hills, and Zeta Division will be rotating first for it. Now my question is, what can you make of this? They have full setup and presence on the map. All they have to focus on is the choke points. Can you get these limbs onto the Falcons players?
Let's see what Teeny can do. Just trying to take an angle. Nice. 2 kills coming for Zeta, though. Yapko answers back by walking in. Uninvited. Gets another one as well in the feed. Picks up 2, and this should be Falcons with more time on the board if they can get these last 2 kills on the card.
I mean, sometimes you think you've done everything right, and it's just a bit of individual brilliance from Yapko that just blows things apart. Yapko's still alive and still causing problems for the side of Zeta Division. Mini Pyro manages to get in, though, and that will be a little bit of time at least going over to Zeta Division. However, pressure coming in from the front, that will be eliminated, and now you're going to see Yuma having to face up against 2 Falcon players coming off the respawn. Player in the window as well, which you spotted out for a little bit of chip damage, but not too much, nothing you're going to worry about.
Got to be mentioned here, Falcons. Their lead slipping away just a little bit. There's been a nice 30-point rally coming in. 142-82, so Zeta Division not going down without a fight.
They have moved to that P5 as well, which is why you see Falcons get a little bit more time on the board. They will have the spawns. A little bit 5 as well, and Teeny inside of that hill is just locking down this lane. And if you're playing a marksman right now and you're Teeny and you're looking across the map and you know that you've only got lanes in front of you, you're going to be feeling pretty good about picking up some elims.
Kills coming in once again. 2 kills coming in for Tayson and Teeny. Zagu will answer back with 1, however, not going to be easy. Going to be pinched here undoubtedly by Chicho and Yapko. It's very, very nice work from them. Once again, just tag teaming there. The bubble will expire, though. It opens the door for Yuma to come in and get 2. Very, very nice timing on this push. This will be time for Zeta.
Yeah, really, really important there. Initially, the bubble work was fantastic coming in from the Falcon side, right? Using the in and out, the shifting of the body around the edges of the bubble to make sure that they weren't taking damage and got those elims, but it was the push through the middle and the clutch moment to clean up both players that gave them the opportunity to break. But has the break come too late? As Falcons now move back to P1, and this was almost a perfect hill. This was a perfect hill.
I was going to say, they're going to be very, very comfortable here. We already saw them go by a significant lead, and you have to think with this much time on the clock, they could just get just shy of closing out the game on this hard point alone.
Tayson will go down, though. Zagu now trying to flood through that bubble. That's going to be another elim. So Zeta Division do actually manage to get 3 elims in a row here and clean out the hard point. Now they will have the information, you would imagine, with a little bit of scouting and a few angles being held of where the push is coming in from Falcons. If they can avoid the utility off the respawn, there's an opportunity for Zeta to maybe put a bit of pressure onto Falcons here.
Toyota with a very, very nice kill. Picks up another one as well. Yuma teams up. That should be 3 dead. We'll see where the 4th player is pushing in. Now it's going to be Chicho and Teeny trying to make something happen. That's going to be a very, very nice swing of points. And just like that, less than a 70-point game here.
This is a really, really good hold coming in, but Falcons off the respawn trying to flood through. Yuma has to play his life. And is managing to do so. Tayson's going to try and push out these kills while Teeny just sits inside of that hill. We have rotated around to that second hill once more now, so Falcons will have the spawns for this one. Falcons sat inside and around the hill. But in and around the pool, which is mid-map, you can still see Falcons have presence, and they're just not letting Z Division even get up the map at the moment.
Yeah, look at yapko and Chicho don't even have an action to fight, like you said. Such good mid-map control coming in from the side of Falcons that they're going to pick up more kills in the feed as well. Teeny going to just flank around the back of the base and try to continue holding this down. 2:24 on the board for Falcons, now a 100-point lead once again.
Getting close to closing this one out as well. Zagu fighting once more, and you got to say 16 limbs for Zagu. He's been a player who certainly hasn't disappointed here for Zeta Division. He's trying to do all that he can. Bubble again, the Dynamite's going to go down, but not connect with yapko. He's in the bubble of his own, and now he's got some support coming in from his teammates. Chicho will pick up 2, but yapko being the driving force of that push.
Worth noting here, 10 points until we move to the new point. So they will not close it out here, but they are getting dangerously close to finishing this round out. 2:38 on the board, and now moving to our next hard point.
Their division have spawns for this one. Falcons trying to push up. yapko trying to clean up the damage onto Koyota will do so. So now Mini Puro is going to have to stay alive in and around that hard point. But yapko just deleted him from inside of that hill, and with only a few points required, the question is, do they have the time now as the bubble goes down to just hold off this push and close this out?
That will be it. Look at the bubble timing as well. That one really should close it out. It's a Hail Mary effort coming in last second.
Hail Mary might not be good enough. yapko is taken out, and oh, Hail Mary might be good enough. Tayson now is the only player they really have to deal with here, and with Yuma picking up 2 and Koyota working with him, Chicho has to clean up some damage, but I mean, it's last-second desperation plays here as they only need 1 point, Team Falcons, but Zeta Division don't want to let this one go.
They don't want to let it go, and now here comes the push. It should be yapko jumping in. yapko able to jump in last second, as you did see Zeta step out, and that will be game number 2 once again, going to Falcons. And we got to say, same thing across their side of the stage. You would not have guessed, if you were only watching that camera angle alone, that they had just closed out a game that convincing.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff. Overall, you would say, from Falcons, but Zeta just felt like they were growing into that towards the end. That P1 hill was a real deciding factor though, right? You cannot afford to have a P1 hill, which is one of the neutral ones in and around the mid-map, go so heavily to one side. You're just kind of playing catch-up, especially with the second one going towards the Falcon spawns as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the 2 advantages they got, it was about a 50-plus point advantage off of the first center hill at number 1. The second time it went there as well, we saw another 50-point advantage, and that's really how we got to the 100-point advantage. It was actually all really won and lost on the central hill holds on the first hard point. Falcons clearly knowing exactly which chokes they needed to do, and you got to say, Zeta Division just not timing their pushes together. They needed to break those earlier, and they lost by quite a deficit because they just found themselves getting picked apart by Falcons. You take a look at some highlights from that game.
I mean, Zagu had some really good moments in that game. So did Yuma on the side of Zeta Division. Certainly some good limbs being picked up, but a lot of the time something that stood out to me was not so much the holds, because the holds, when you look at hard point as a game mode, it's kind of the easiest thing to lock down as a team. You watch here, these are our chokes, this is where the push is going to come from, right? It's more the breaks. We always talk about the breaks and how the best teams in the world when it comes to these type of game modes across numerous different esports titles will wait for each other and make sure that when they push, they're pushing in a situation where they have every single player on their team alive on the map. Sometimes you have to do nothing before you can try and do something.
It really is the case. We saw each time Falcons with their holds, especially as we talked about on that.
Pushing in a situation where they have every single player on their team alive on the map. Sometimes you have to do nothing before you can try and do something.
It really is the case, and we saw each time Falcons with their holds, especially as we talked about on that first hardpoint hold. And once we've got to be said though, Zeta Division with some really nice tunnel holds here on that hard point at number 4, and essentially just keeping the game respectable, but it felt like it was maybe a little bit too little too late as they let the game slip away.
Yeah, it certainly was indeed. yapko had some really big moments in and around mid-map, and one thing I love about the way that yapko is playing this game mode at the moment is he takes space, right? He takes space away from the hard point. He takes space towards where the players are going to be pushing up the map. And if you're Zeta Division, maybe it catches you off guard a little bit. You've got all your focus on where we need to go to break this hard point. And before you know it, you're taking damage in and around mid-map from someone. That just slows your push down even more. That was a beautiful shot, by the way, coming in from Zagu.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. When you have a player like yapko just doing exactly what he wants on the map, finally in that exchange you saw him get taken down. But as you heard earlier in the pregame, kind of your defending champion, the winner of Gamers 8-0 build last year, and just coming in here and just putting on a show. It's not surprising to see a 2-0 lead here coming in for Falcons. Smiles on their side of the stage as well as we get ready for map number 3.
Now we get to play a little bit of Keeper, and this is the game mode which is going to test our teams and players most, we feel. This is the most recently introduced game type that we do have, the most recently introduced map as well, and I would say when you're looking at the nuances of 4v4 game modes, a game mode like Keeper tests so many facets of a team's teamwork in comparison to even the likes of a Hardpoint and CTF.
And their mentals, right? Keep in mind, because it's the new game mode, we've seen them, we've seen in the Discord, right? There's been new updates to this game mode. We've been talking with players. Spawns have been changing a bit. Strategies have been changing a bit. Going to be keeping a very close eye on our teams looking for the cliff side. You see the right side of the map there, or the far side on your screen right now. Are they going to be holding cliffside, or are they going to be holding internally, closer to basement hold? We've seen teams doing kind of each of these yet, and because this is so new, we're going to see a lot of this figured out on the spot this weekend over the 4 days of competition of how these teams want to play these games.
Yeah, we're also going to see if anyone's got a couple of strategies that they've just held back for tournament play.
Close to the chest.
Yeah, maybe we won't see them today. But if they get to Saturday or Sunday, maybe that's where they'll go, oh, by the way, we can do this here. So we'll have to see if we're going to see some tricks coming out of these teams a little bit later on in the tournament. But when we talk about this game, when we talk about this series, it's Zeta Division who are the ones under pressure at the moment. Falcons up 2-0 as we do see that key down mid-map.
They get a spawn here, of course, on the closed side of the map. Respawn here rather than that central point. Tayson will, unsurprisingly, get the first one. It's very good sight line and kind of choke usage coming in from the side of Falcons. Yuma will break, though, so here comes the push.
Tayson now playing in and around the basement. Going to be rotating towards his teammates, but a little bit of damage is going to be done. And you have to say, one thing that's very, very intricate when it comes to this game type is even when you find yourself down a few numbers, the mobility you have in this game mode, even holding that key, you can milk a couple of extra points before you get taken down. But Zeta Division do manage to get the break, and now Zagu, he's got the key in hand.
Yeah, right now Falcons able to get 17 early ones on the board. They go for that early basement hold, which we'll talk about later after this action calms down, because Teeny and Yako and Tayson work together for 3 dead. They steal the key right back. For those of you who are new, maybe didn't catch the intro, Keeper here, a brand new game mode to EWC featuring Fortnite. Very similar to Oddball from Halo, really a game of keep away. You want to hold this key. As you do, you're going to rack up time. And look at this hold here from Tayson. By the way, this is a very dangerous spot to hold, because if you die, you can really just kind of play it. It'll go down right at the out of environment boundary, and you can then defend that area pretty easily. Good shots once again from Tayson from distance as well. They will continue holding.
And not only is it difficult to push, look at the head glitch you're playing on if you're Tayson right now, right? You know where that key player is, you know where he's located, but the problem is you've got such a small target to deal with. And I love that Tayson, even with the key in his hand, is essentially flanking behind the push that's been organized by Zeta Division, just chipping away at shields. And if you've got someone who's holding an objective doing that, you know they're doing their work.
Yeah, they really are. Tayson started to rotate just a little bit towards the middle of the map, and then in the end, he's forced all the way back. He will get taken down as well. You will see a few players on Falcons fall. It's going to be Teeny that goes down. However, kills exchange from both sides, because Chicho picks up 2 and will pick up the key as well. Already 3 kills on the board, and once again, we'll continue holding. Great work with Tayson there for that 2v1, and this is as soon as I saw this map when I was testing this game type, Mark, this is such an obnoxious spot to hold. Chicho gets punished for checking that angle, but really with those windows and that cliffside, that is where you're going to see a lot of teams looking to hold that key.
Very, very impressive run that from Chicho. You see Tayson now going to pick up that key, and this is the rotate coming in. However, before he does manage to move that key back towards the rest of his respawning teammates, Zeta Division do get the kills, but there's something to kind of just dissect a little bit here. When Zeta have had that key in their hand, they've not been able to establish any kind of dominant setup at the moment. It's been scrappy time. Although now finally they do get some kills, this is their opportunity to show us something different.
Awkward transitional hold though. You could tell Zagu was just there for the bubble and then knew he needed to get out of dodge. They're kind of right around center map here, as you see. They're really probably going to try to get either back outside. Yeah, not surprising to see Zagu go back to cliff here, because you really don't want to be holding towards that center part of the map. Finally, he takes a really nice creative route and he's just going to hold cliff side to see if they can get some time on the board right now. And they're right back in this game. It was 81-10 or so. And right now it's 81-51. The game is back within 30.
I was about to say though, unfortunately for him, he knew the pressure was coming on. You can see he was trying to get the key into a position where it'd be difficult to pick up. Maybe the player just slides off and finds himself in a little bit of trouble. And the key stays active, but it's going to be a clean break thanks to the kills picked up by the man on your screen. 7 limbs to his name at the moment here, Tayson, as Falcons put themselves onto 96, 98 points. And they might be threatening to cross into the 3 figures. But as I say that, the break will come in momentarily, but the cleanup crew is here as Teeny now will look to put down more damage mid-map.
Tayson almost 1v2s on that doorway. You saw it there the last second. He almost picked up another one. He turns on him as well. Turns on Yuma around the corner. That's not going to feel good. Yako picks up another one and another. working together as two in the feed for him. KQYT eventually will finish him and will get the key, but you're starting to see some of the madness the keeper brings, even when it looks like the kills on the feed are scoring up the right way. Rotate here coming in for KQYT, so instead of holding here on the cliffside, they're actually going to start to rally back, but they needed to know the pressure was coming. Zeta tried to pinch in the end, and Chicho just left alone, going to have to wait to bubble out of this fight. He's taken down as well. So as that key rotates back in, I wouldn't be surprised once again, Zagu to just hold this maybe in the tower, avoid going back up towards the staircase kind of on the spawn, because it's going to be a really difficult hold. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays towards the tower on the outside, but instead going to rotate right towards Falcons.
Looks like he got the call out that maybe that player was a little bit weaker than expected, because, like you say, not sure about that one. That's a little bit of an overchow. Didn't really need to make that play. Could have waited for Falcons to push towards him, and now TNE is trying to do exactly that. But look at the flood coming in here from Zia, by the way. Chicho's going to find one on the side of Falcons, but the rest of the kill feed belongs to Zeta Division until Tayson steps in once more. He just seems to be in the right place at the right time. 14 limbs to his name.
Tayson picks up 2, Chicho in the feed as well. Yeah, this key is in a really obnoxious spot. I'm kind of surprised that we're seeing it stay here this long, and Zeta's trying to get it out of here as well. Really, this was, I think, just a start of a rotate that came up the stairs when you're leaving the cliffside going back towards that spawn. A little bit of accidental damage coming in here. We'll see if that can get cleaned up. Just obnoxious on the tree stomp, you love what you see there, and in the end, we'll go back, and it's going to be 130 to 95.
In 95 as we close out here, round number 1, and we're going to reset the sides here. So we're going to have a little bit of a flip of the spawns before we get into round number 2. Excuse me, but Falcons. Very strong start, and I think a lot of it was based around that one setup they had that felt that it was a 70, 80-point run in and around that rock formation you were talking about.
Yeah, if we're looking at the mini-map, just for anyone who's looked at a lot of the keeper mini-map here at Taverna, really you're thinking about that top right cliffside, which is where a lot of Team Falcons' time came from. Now, in the end, I think it's important to talk about how that key stayed, if you will, on the bottom right cliffside, just because it felt like a play of the key to just put it into a very dangerous area from Tayson. You saw him pick up the kills, and they moved it there. I was surprised to see Zeta not try to get... They're going for the tower hold again. I'm surprised to see them opting for this, because if you do lose it, it's just a little bit of carnage here. We'll see if they can hold here.
Yeah, it's almost like you're gifting the setup over to the other side, right? But, like you say, if you put yourself in a power position, like Zagu finds himself right now, that you can bait things out and you can do damage, but unfortunately for him, not too many misplays on his side. It was just Falcons eliminated the rest of Zeta before they made that play. So now you can see TNE, he's going to have to deal with it. They're going to go back for that key. They'll find 2 kills in the feed as well, which is going to give them a little bit of space to play with. But here's Tayson, and you know you've got to take him down, and the 2v1 will certainly do so. A much better start here from Zeta Division.
Let's see what Zeta holds here, because once again, they're kind of in this courtyard area. They're still right here by the red spawn. If they still hold tower, I think there's a lot, like they really want to hold this. You can tell this is something they've been working on. So far, it has given them a good lead in this game, 53-0. We'll see if they can continue holding.
Big fight mid-map here, and it's going to be Yapko who wins it. 20 limbs to his name, and he's going to grab a little bit of objective time as well by collecting that key. Falcons are going to find 2, and oh my! Yapko having a little bit of fun out here.
See if they make the push here. They could just decide to push Mini-Koyo up the stairs. Yapko finally does get taken down as 2 kills go into the feed for Zeta. See if they can continue holding here, maybe even a rotate of the key. Finally, the key will now sit down in this courtyard. 4 stacked is Zeta Division, as they need to be careful. Kills exchange 1 apiece.
Hey, that's a bit of communication that you'll pick up after a few games, and certainly after a situation like that. It's quite simple. I've got key. Everybody else push it out. So we see the bubble go down here as Chicho is going to be a little bit of a problem, as is Yapko in the kill feed. So looking at the score at the moment, you have to say that Zeta Division had the best of the start here, and this tower hold was good for them. Now it's time for Falcons to see if they can do something similar in response.
You can tell both teams prepared for this hold. Tayson actually very nicely just dodges the grenades that are coming in, drops a courtyard to help out with these battles, and as a result, they get 2 dead very cleanly, and Tayson will rotate. I was going to ask, Mark, I was really surprised. I did not think we were going to see Falcons continue with that tower hold. It just doesn't look on paper or in scrim results like it's the strongest on the map, and I'm not surprised to see a rotate right away coming in from the side of Falcons. One, to not be holding tower, but secondly, to pull the tower hold away from Zeta, who seems comfortable.
Yeah, seem extremely comfortable as we head up to what we've described as Hagrid's Hut. Yep, I say we. It was all you. I'm going to give you all of the credit for that.
It does look like Hagrid's Hut.
It does, 100%. Human now. Trying to challenge Chicho. He's going to be popping up in this window in just a few moments' time. A little bit of chip damage, and now he's trying to 3-peek and see if the re-peek is going to come in. Of course it did, as Falcons will find 2. Looking at the score, though, Zeta Division still with that lead, although Falcons have the key away.
First round, of course, went to Falcons, playing best of 3 rounds here. We hadn't mentioned that yet. Zagu will fall on the feet. Chicho with 2 to his name. Mini-Koyo trying to answer back and try to get to the front of Hagrid's Hut, but not always the easiest thing to do. Going to now flank around, wait for help.
It's going to be a strong hold coming in here from Tayson and the rest of Falcons as well. You can see just putting it in a position where there's only a couple of lanes that Vision can push from, and now they're going to try and double this push onto KQYT through this bubble. However, KQYT gets the kill, and now you're going to see him get two. He's out of there. He's got the key. He's done the work. He's saying, everybody else, you know your jobs.
YapKo answers back, though, with a double of his own. See if he can pick up another one. KQYT just going to try to rotate around. Does not get around the corner last second. That means Chicho will continue scoring yet again. And now, look at this. Within 10 points this game. It's been a much tighter round number 2, Mark.
It certainly has, and it seems like Zeta Division, although the tower hold was good for them early on, this scrap time is really kind of putting pressure onto Falcons because they're picking that key up. They're kind of running into 2v1 scenarios, trying to isolate a couple of players. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. 2 players fly through once more. Yuma will get an elimination. Mini Bureau now on your screen, trying to hold down a few angles. The Zeta Division will tie things up here. It's 102 to 102.
Let's not forget, we're with 48 seconds left. This is their series life on the line here. They need to win this round to stay alive, and they will need to win everything thereafter as well. And it's a minor lead here. We'll see if they can hold 39 seconds on the clock.
Key is still in their hand as well. That score is only going one way now for Zeta Division. Keep your eyes on that kill feed, though. See where the limbs are starting to pop in. Teeny will find one. KQYT will answer back. YapKo there as well, and if Falcons can get these eliminations and get away, then maybe there's a chance. YapKo was trying to sneak away with that key in his hand, but wasn't able to do so, and now you're going to see Zeta Division surely close things out here with this key in their hands. The rotate's going to come in with Tayson getting 2. It's going to be mathematically impossible for Falcons to get back into this round. We are going to be tied up going into a deciding round number 3.
Wow, and finally some signs of life here coming in from Zeta in a big way, and a little bit of relief on their side. As you can tell, they will stay alive not just in this game, but in this series, and they answer back. They send Keeper to a round number 3. What a difference between those 2 rounds, Mark.
Yeah, it was a fascinating start to the round, right? It was the tower hold that you were so kind of focused on, understandably so, because it felt like that was plan A coming in for Zeta Division. And Falcons, even though they could see exactly what was happening in front of them, they just couldn't really formulate a way to break it initially. And then I almost feel like Falcons made a bit of a mistake by playing into the hands of Zeta Division by trying to perform that hold themselves, but they just didn't look quite as rehearsed.
2 kills go down for Zeta right away. However, answered back by Teeny, going to keep things close to make sure it's not too much time on the board yet. However, the 2 kills do allow for a Zeta Division early pull of the key.
Something to keep in note as well. Remember how new this game type is as well. Maybe it's the reps that Falcons don't have in comparison to Zeta Division. Zagu's out of there with that key, by the way, and it's going to be early time on the board once again from Zeta Division. Remember, they were 1 round to 0 down in this game. They tied up on 1-1, and they've got a little bit of time on the board here. Falcons, for the first time in the series, feel a little bit under pressure here.
Yeah, Tayson going to pull, probably go back to the staircase spawn if he can. Yes, indeed. He's going to rotate right all the way back, just get away, and really it's an art to be able to rotate the key away. Gets good damage on Yuma. In the end, though, will be 2v1. He's taken down. 26 points on the board early for Zeta.
I see your bubble. I meet you with an EMP. That gets rid of that very quickly. Yuma going to be challenging on YapKo as well, and that's going to be 2 coming in for him. A big play around mid-map is going to create space for that key carrier to rack up a little bit more time. Zeta Division, 41 points and rising for them at the moment, and this has been another strong start like we saw in that second round.
I like this rotate. Look, they're going to come right up the stairs here, still hanging around red spawn. They're just stacking together. They pick up 2 more as well. YapKo picks up 1 to make it a 3v3 momentarily on the map.
As long as they can avoid the utility from the respawners here, this death ball, this stack coming in from Zeta Division is working well enough, but here comes Tayson. He's going to find 2, maybe even 3. Finally. It looks like kills will be exchanged elsewhere, but he's got the key in his hand, and that was job done now for Falcons. They've got the break, and it's thanks to the man on your screen.
Yeah, Tayson picks up 3, Chicho picks up another one as well. They pick up more, essentially 5 or 6 kills in a row as Teeny and Tayson will combine for another 3 kills. And this was the rally back that Falcons fans were hoping to see. Let's not forget, Zeta's still doubling the score of Falcons, but Falcons now showing really clean dominance. That's about 10 out of the last 12 kills in a row. They will now have a really solid basement hold. We'll see if they can tie up the game here.
Yeah, it almost felt like that was 3 squad wipes consecutively going in the favor of Falcons, and that's why you're seeing the score flip on its head. It is getting closer and closer as the seconds tick past. The key's going to be down in the basement. You're going to see Falcons pick up a couple of kills, and that's going to allow Teeny to get this key back into their possession. We are going to see a tie game in just a few moments. Falcons have found a way back into this.
This is the second time in the game across the rounds we've seen Falcons with a basement hold. Not surprised to see it. We already know this is the favorite hold of XSET, one of the tournament favorites, so really rallying back. They have gone back into the lead here. Falcons at 66 to 62 off of the basement hold.
Plenty of time left in this round, and we've seen, I think, efficiency start to take over both teams at the moment. When they've got the preferred setup, it seems like that has totaled into a 40, 50-point run as YapKKYT starts doing things that only YapKKYT can do.
Picks up another one there, beautiful 3P, just hits the shot, makes it look very easy. Finally, team be taken down. Coyote wants to answer back, but gotta be tough for Zeta Division after being up by about 60 to 20 there. They find their lead completely removed as Falcons now up by 10, but Zeta scoring yet again.
Couple of trades coming across the board when it comes to eliminations, and it seems like the key will be down for a few seconds as Zeta will be placed upon their respawn, which allows Chicho now to move in and collect that key, and a little bit more time here for Falcons. They will cross the 90-point mark here in Zeta Division. You mentioned series life on the line here, then looking down the barrel of a 3-0 if they can't break this hole for Falcons.
Oh, 3 dead. Tayson and YapKKYT combining for 3 straight kills. Not going to be good. Zagu also taken down 4 straight kills. Falcons now going to rack up even more time with the key. And once again, the basement hold prevails. They go right back home.
They've shown that they get one team wipe, it's more than likely they're going to get 2 or 3 based off of the plays that they have and the spawn knowledge that they can execute as well. Chicho now just gathering more and more time with this key in his hands as Falcon moves second after second, point after point, closer and closer to closing out this game and this series. Chicho, no pressure, which is usually a good indication your teammates are doing good work.
Yeah, it really is. Once again, going to hold here. Pre-bubble comes in for Coyote, but Chicho gets very good damage on it. Going to allow Tayson to immediately clean up. YapKKYT picks up another one in the feed as well, 141 to 78.
Yeah, we're now moving into the realms of mathematical impossibility once more, and it looks like Falcons, even though they bled a little bit in that second round of Keeper, they will be able to close things out now with a 2-1 win to close out the series at 3-0. Hey, the predictions were right. Apart from 1% of you. Gotta call it out. Gotta call it out.
And we even got some smiles there on the face of the side of Falcons as they will handily take that game of Keeper in the end. Headsets will slowly come off and they can realize that the job is done in that first series. I've got to say, big shout out though to Zeta Division, even though they certainly came in as the underdog, putting up a fight in that last game of Keeper, and maybe just sending a message across to the competition that, hey, we've done the work, we can hang with the best, and we'll be ready for the rest of our matches in group stage.
I think it also sends a little bit of a message to everybody who's watching at home as well. When we get to that map number 3, which is going to be Keeper in all of the best of 5s today, you get a chance. It's so fresh, it's so new, that even the best teams...
Okay guys, let's go wait for the next match. Okay, wait a minute.
And obviously the Keeper when we do get to that map number 3. So
So let's go.
obviously the Keeper when we do get to that map number 3. So I believe Dragons, you know, I said 3-0 at the beginning. I'm kind of switching it up. I'm thinking maybe 3-1, much closer battle with Dragons. But as soon as XSET loses one map, that's when I think they might just kind of turn it on full force.
Yeah, it could be the momentum the Dragons need, though, if they end up taking one. We'll have to see if they're able to close it out, as I believe the players are going to be getting into the matches here shortly. It is going to be capture the flag to start it off. And as a reminder, capture the flag, if it does end up going to overtime in, let's say we get the score of 1-1, it's going to be the first team that captured that flag throughout the whole series, not only the map, throughout the whole series, that is going to win the overtime. If it's 0-0, then it's the team that had the most eliminations. So it's very important to get that first flag capture if you want to have the best odds of taking it home.
Yeah, it almost 100% assures you if you go down 1-0, you need 2 flag caps. Just tying the game isn't going to be enough. Yes, it'll grant you overtime, but it's not going to be the win at the end of the day. And in capture the flag, there are 2 halves. You start off on red team, you start off on blue team, 5 minutes go by, and then you switch sides to make it fair and equal for both of these teams. You play a second half, another 5 minutes of action before the score will settle and figure out who wins. And now the game has started. Takata Ritual with the marksman. He's going to be the player that watches that whole center of the map for XSET.
I'm excited. Marksman on the opposing end is going to be Romero. So who's going to be able to hit those crucial shots is the big question, as you see players now already starting it off strong. Cold, the new change to the XSET roster, is going to get first blood.
Yeah, already you're seeing the elimination side with XSET, but as soon as they push up and instantly get answered back by Dragons, Muzz going down. Edgy does have control over the tunnels, but even he's in a big fight as XSET is figuring out a way to win these battles in the center of the map. That gives XSET, that gives Cold the whole pool side of the map, and you see him pushing up and trying to use it to his advantage.
It's all about map control in this game mode. Those picks are going to grant you more of it, being able to push closer and closer towards your opponent's flags. But as soon as you get eliminated, then the tables are going to turn. Muzz goes down, Cold goes down, and there's an opportunity for Dragons to start pushing forwards.
Yeah, they still need to clean these players of XSET out of their base, though. Otherwise, they're going to have to worry about them. Bubble Shield going down for Edgy. They're just buying time. They're buying so much time. You see Cold getting Elim center of the map. Him and Muzz are finally pushing up. Even with Ritual and Edgy have gone down, what XSET has done is got that map control that we're talking about. They pushed up so far that Dragon still has to worry about these players floating around. They need a full-on squad wipe off of XSET if they want to push up and take control.
Utility coming through. Romero once again looking for that big shot to connect. You got to be careful though, as Rituals is holding a right-hand peek just with the truck close to them. Edgy is going to go down though. Ritual's going to get cracked. Muzz going to get cracked as well as iTroll takes out another. And it looks like the push for Dragons is going to come through.
Yep, he has to be careful though. You can't push up too far by yourself. XSET and the rest of the players know they're there. Cold with another flank in the middle. Ritual is able to push up off of that, and the rest of the members of XSET are starting to gain that confidence. Might be a little too much though. Edgy pushes up, ill-advised by himself, quickly goes down, which gives Dragon an opportunity to answer back as you see them pushing down that long tunnel hallway.
Lua now looking to get an angle onto Cold, takes out one. Ritual though is going to be able to clean it up now. A trade as the momentum from Ritual is going to continue towards the flag, but is going to get cracked.
Yep. Dragon at least getting into the base right now. This is where you need another couple of eliminations if you want it to work. They went in, they pushed up. They got at least one before falling, so all that map control is done and over with. XSET getting a chance here to answer back, but it's not going to be as quick of an answer. Ritual trying to bleed out the top of that building, but everyone is getting spotted out. Muzz dropped to a little bit of HP. Ritual missing a lot of shield, so XSET needs to figure out a way to let their teamwork do the talking here.
1-1, both eliminations on each side. Muzz is going to go down now. It is 2-1 for Dragon on this push. Cold's been cracked as well. Ritual connects a shot, but it's not enough as Lua gets his 6th elimination.
Yeah, that's why I said this is going to be the best chance for Dragon Esports. Capture the flag, Shallop map number 1. You have the most familiarity, but so does XSET. As Ritual finally teaming the tides. It's just an elimination for elimination. Even with Muzz getting tagged up in the middle, he's going to go down. Ramiro's position is going to be known, but with Ritual and Edgy so far separated, they cannot necessarily make the play to pinpoint their opponent, take them down. So the trades will continue to go in favor of Dragons along with that map control.
Starting off this capture the flag map, XSET was looking like the aggressors, but it looks like the tables might have just turned. But have I spoken too soon? Jacob of XSET picks up 2 eliminations, causing them now to once again play more aggressive.
And this is where I expect XSET to kind of slow things down just a little bit. Figure out a way to get those eliminations, chain them together, get some map control. Romero is going to go down. iTroll as well. Opens up a window of opportunity with 2 members of Dragons on respawn. Make it 3, make it 4 as the newest member of XSET, Cold, picking up those double-digit eliminations already, but fresh off the respawn. Romero answers back with a triple, almost gets the quad, but Edgy shuts him down.
Close to a squad wipe. Luckily enough, Edgy was there to save the day. Unfortunately, Lua is going to close it out, and it looks like we'll have another reset here from both rosters, but some insane shots being connected already as Dragon's now going to take out Muzz and continue with their push.
Yeah, right now, this is a huge surprise with the way Dragon is playing against this XSET roster, but it's what I said, you have to hit them hard in the beginning of the map cycle, build that confidence, because XSET will slowly, they will surely climb back into the game. A bunch of eliminations going in favor of XSET, but you see the time on the clock, 10 seconds left in the half. No matter what happens, there's not enough time to bring it coast to coast to get that flag capture. So the first half of the Esports World Cup, XSET versus Dragons, will end up tied off.
You can see the Dragons roster have their smiles, feeling happy. As a reminder, if it does end in 0-0, the kind of tiebreaker is eliminations. If it ends 1-1, it's the first person or the first team who captured the flag in the series. So it was 0-0 that match. I'm not sure which roster had more eliminations, though, Jacob. They both looked pretty even.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty even. I know Cold was a difference maker for that roster, but this is a little bit frightening as we check out some of the replays here, because this is almost the same thing that happened right before DreamHack. All the hype on the side of XSET. They had everybody thinking they were going to win the event. They didn't even qualify from DreamHack. It was the online qualifiers where XSET was able to get their spot. And XSET, even though they're showing up here, you see 12 eliminations on Cold to start the second half off. It just hasn't been enough, and it's been a huge surprising factor already.
Yeah, I wonder if kind of the game plan's going to switch up throughout the next half of Capture the Flag. If it does come down to eliminations, they have to be careful to not give their opponents free elims just as they go for those pushes. So we'll see if they can keep the control moving forwards.
Edgy trying to take control. Center map. Ritual does have the other side, so even though there's only a few members of XSET, they have to wait for Cold to push up. Edgy's going to go ahead and lead the charge. They're trying to anchor down the right side, but the cross is in. Edgy goes down, but at least Ritual was able to make a play to try to keep the numbers even for XSET, to try to keep the pressure intact. But as soon as they get out of the tunnel, you see them trying to go for rock control. Dragons instantly shut them down with 3 members down and out for XSET.
Keeps on repeating. XSET is able to get that initial push through mid-map, but once they get close to that flag, they have been getting eliminated. Same thing's been happening for Dragon. They have been playing more defensive overall, to be fair, but it's not like they've had as many opportunities to fully push in. But this could be the one as Randu's looking for some shots to connect here. Edgy's gonna get cracked now, forced to drop the shield bubble, but he's gonna go down anyways. It's all up to Rituals now. Huge shot getting connected. 2 HP left onto Randu. He's gonna choose to pop an EMP, and now they can push forwards.
Yeah, Ritual trying to be a little bit of a distraction. A crash coming in on the side from Cold and Muzz. They were able to at least find one elimination on the back line, but Cold goes down. Muzz is there by himself. Muzz is trying to sneak around. I think Dragons know somebody is still alive, but they might not know exactly where Muzz is at. They turned the corner, and they made sure to check every crevice of that trash can to find Muzz out, get him off their side. That was a great play from Dragons.
Wasn't able to hide. We've kind of seen these sneaky plays evolve and come more into play as these game modes have been continuing to be played out. Lua already with 14 eliminations, but he does get taken out. iTroll now choosing to go for the sneaky strat onto Edgy, but he's going to get caught off guard.
See, when it comes to that center map control, pretty even around the board. It's when that team pushes up into their opponent's territory, into that red zone. That's where the defense has been shining strong for both of these rosters. But now XSET has another chance. Muzz able to get one. Ritual chaining back-to-back eliminations for the roster. And you see everybody else crashing on this play. Cold gets another one. 3 down and out. But as all that happens, Muzz has gotten taken down. His teammate falls as well. They're fresh off of the respawn, but XSET's still doing a good job for that moment. Holding pressure from Romero, shuts him down, and starting to build that confidence up for Dragons.
Edgy with just 10 HP as he slowly regens back to 100 now, looking to see if he can cover out Cold. Sticky grenade gonna come through. iTroll connecting a good amount of shots onto Cold, though dropping him down to 28, 3 HP. The push comes through. iTroll goes down, so does Cold. Edgy now looking to see if he can stop the push.
20 eliminations so far for Cold. You're seeing why he was the biggest pickup during that roster mania period and why he was a must-have for the team. Hopefully he can be that driving force as Edgy pushes up. Randu gets taken down. Cold defends the throne, allowing for XSET to finally breathe on their side of the map. The turn back from Cold gets him just weak enough for Ritual to finish him off.
Now Rituals sneaking on up, going to see if he can connect the shot here. Romero close by, looking to see if Randu can find an angle. As we're back to the center map, both teams kind of back in their spawns.
This is just like a huge surprise. Like I'm saying, you got to give Dragons all the props in the world. 50 seconds left in this half. If it remains 0-0, we're going to go to overtime, which puts some pressure on the team that does not have the eliminations. But XSET trying to make a last-ditch effort. Muzz goes down. Edgy falls as well. Cold and Ritual still alive, and they're pushing further and further towards the back line. The bubble shield is keeping Romero alive and is keeping XSET at bay.
Something about Brazil Fortnite, especially in standard battle royale, is they're known for hitting their shots with snipers, Jacob, and from what I'm seeing, Romero has been absolutely popping off throughout this first match of the day. Can he continue it to finish it off, though? Just 13 seconds are left. Cold pushes up, shots connected up to Romero. Cold gets the elim. iTroll's the last one, but he goes down as well as Cold falls shortly after with 25 eliminations to his name.
Yeah, Cold knew in that situation. Just get these elims, push them ourselves. But Dragons has to get all the credit yet again. The Latin American team that didn't lose a single match in their online qualifiers to get to this point in game number 1 against XSET. Them being the heavy favorites, not only in this matchup, but in the tournament overall. Dragons waking up and surprise again. You said Romero, he was a driving force, and that's something I said. If your marksman player is not hitting shots, you're likely losing. Well, Romero is doing the opposite. He is hitting every shot in the book. You give him an opportunity just like that, giving Cold a fresh haircut.
But I'm trying to do my quick maths here, Jacob, my calculations, and if it stays 0-0, we've said it repeatedly, it's going to be the tiebreaker in terms of eliminations. Cold himself has 25 eliminations, so adding on to the rest of his roster, I think they might be slightly leading over what Dragons has right now, so it might be a change of mindset here. You could not get eliminated.
Already starts us off, XSET pushing him all the way on the other side of the map. Edgy in a 1v1. Randu goes down. The rest of the members of XSET are already getting pressured by Dragon. Most of them are falling. Randu, Lua, they're getting both eliminations. They're trying to get that flag out, but a great cut off by Muzz, making sure they do not get that opportunity. But an EMP breaking the shield. Lua's trying to go in. Randu knows they're weak. He was trying to finish them off, but Muzz and Cold, the dynamic duo from XSET, stand strong.
It got a little too close for comfort there, but it looks like we have two players sneaking up to each other as Rituals. iTroll doesn't even know. Free pickings for Rituals. That's one elim now. Able to push up even further. This could be huge for XSET.
Yeah, well, Ritual got one, Edgy got another, and Ritual gets 3 overall, but the respawns are in. XSET knows they need another round of eliminations. They need to buy time for Muzz to get back into have to fight this in a 3v4 fashion. Dragon, on the other hand, they need to push quick. They need to push while they have at least a one-man advantage. Otherwise, they're on their base, and they're waiting for XSET to make a mistake.
Great position from Rituals. Going to use the dynamite here to try and pick off iTroll. He knows he's at that corner, but unfortunately he's going to miss the dynamite. Push up with the pistol. Takes out iTroll and now has to connect the marksman shot. Unable to hit the snipe, though, as Randu is going to pick up Edgy. Muzz is going to be cracked. Rituals gone down already, and just like that, Dragon have protected their flag once again.
And I think that might have been the farthest the flag has been out almost all game long so far. And Cold going for a second opportunity. Gets the elimination onto iTroll. Gets out the window as well. This is going to be the best opportunity, but the cutoff from Randu is in. Missing a couple of shots, and Cold takes him out. Cold takes him out. The relay is in. He drops it off the Muzz. Can XSET win in overtime?
They felt Cold's aura. They couldn't handle it as Cold continued to bring the flag forwards. iTroll gone down as well. Is it enough time?
A late roster change. Out goes Trashy. In goes Cold. He gets the big elims on the flag. He gets it out of the window, brings it halfway. Muzz is the one who went and got that capture, but the team eliminations were there. 35 eliminations for Cold, putting up a masterclass with his first time in the XSET jersey.
What a way to show off in the first match of the day. It was close in the first couple rounds. Nobody really had a clear advantage, but being able to connect those shots when it mattered the most, Cold was able to bring the flag to his team. Muzz captured it, and just like that, they were able to close it out.
Yeah, and usually I thought it was going to happen a lot quicker. The start of the rounds, round number 1 didn't happen. Half number 2 didn't happen right out of the gates. But you saw XSET, once that overtime hit, they put that pedal to the metal. They got those quick and early eliminations, and they did not look back, knowing that the team would be flustered in an overtime scenario. But it was Cold, the biggest difference maker, not just in overtime, overtime, but throughout the course of the matchup, you see why he was a hot commodity to get picked up when Man City did not make it into the Esports World Cup. XSET was the one with the lucky draw to pick his name out of a hat and sign him to that roster, and you see it even in moments like this to close out the round, he was not denied.
Look, it's what you love to see, but also I want to give props to Dragons. I mean, they played incredibly well, especially going against one of the fan favorites to take home the whole Esport World Cup featuring Fortnite. So I'm excited to see how they continue throughout the rest of the matches, if they're going to be able to close it out. But in terms of eliminations, I think it might have been closer than we expected. The only gap that we kind of saw between XSET was Cold, that had over 30 eliminations, but a lot of the other players, both on Dragons and XSET, were pretty balanced in terms of how many eliminations they actually secured.
Yeah, and you got to give Dragons, again, I'll say it throughout the course of that matchup, you know, a team from Latin America that doesn't necessarily get the elite practice against the EU teams, against the NA teams, so they kind of have to go with what they see, and if they do get practice, there's a huge ping differential. So for them to put up a fight for over 10 straight minutes against XSET, put themselves in great positions to try to capitalize. Unfortunately, they weren't able to, but that is a wake-up call for a team like XSET, and that is going to benefit XSET more than anything so far in this tournament, to say, hey, even the teams we thought we were going to topple over easy are giving us a challenge. We cannot take anyone lightly. We have to make sure to put our best efforts up every single time, and already it's working out for them as soon as overtime hit.
Just shows that it's kind of the moment to lock in. Got a quick look at the scoreboard in terms of eliminations for the Dragon roster. Romero had 20, Lua had 21, Itrol had 9, and Randu had 17. But if you look at XSET, Jacob, Cold with 35 eliminations, Rituals with 21, Muzz with 10, and Edgy with 14. So even if they weren't able to capture that flag, they definitely would have taken it home in terms of eliminations.
Yeah, I think Cold right now is literally almost sporting a 3, maybe even 4-point KDA in this game. 5,800 damage coming out from Cold on his way to 35 eliminations. Kind of relatively even for the roles that they're playing so far for their rosters. Muzz was a little bit of slow to start that game off, but that's saying something in its own right. Even with Muzz having a little bit of a slow start, they were still able to stop everything that was thrown at him from Dragons. Cold was then able to pick up the pace, along with Ritual and Edgy as well. Even Ritual putting up over 5,000 damage for his team. The marksman hitting the shots that mattered, and I think that's going to be a huge defining factor that they can kind of lean on early on in this tournament while the rest of the team picks up the pace.
Yeah, it's what you love to see. Reminder, we did just see capture the flag. The next game mode is hard point, and it ends on keeper. So we do know that capture the flag. I mean, I asked you earlier, Jacob, I was like, what is the best map, best game mode for XSET? You said Shallot, capture the flag, the two combo that we saw to start it off. So seeing how close it was, I don't know what to expect on the next game modes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those things, but at least we know with Shallot, capture the flag being game number 1, we know either game 4 or 5, if Dragon does force us that far, that we will have a Panther capture the flag, so they can already begin to strategize if they want, but they still have to make it there. Coming into this next map, we do have hard point on Panther. So it does look like the beginning of this cycle, the first 3 maps are kind of like business as usual. What you played coming into this, what you have the most practice on so far.
We'll see if the practice has paid off. I remember you were talking about XSET putting in the homework, making sure they were able to kind of study not only their game plans and strategies, but also what their opposing teams are looking for and what they're doing. I wonder how much homework they put into Dragon and how they play out hardpoint and keeper. But I guess we'll just have to see.
Yep, so this one kind of opening up. I've seen a few different strategies, but hill number 1 right in the middle. I've seen 2 different things play out. Teams like to just get that early hill time, sacrifice everything, start to on the hill, but they also like to play for that top statue control. You get a little bit of elevation, you get that cross angle, which is just as important as that early time, because then you're able to kind of get it later on in that same hill. And already you've seen Romero, Dragon, slow right out of the gates. They're going for some early eliminations rather than just straight hill time.
Starting off hard point. Let's see if it's as close as capture the flags as Rituals. Nice little head peek angle, looking to see if he can connect to snipe. Push comes up. Randu now as well, looking to see what they can do. XSET are going to be the first ones to start capturing that hard point, but how long can they hold on to it?
Yeah, they're going to get some good early heal time here. Dragon wasn't able to get those early eliminations that they staggered themselves back for. A couple of the players got taken out off spawn, and now they're forced back because the statue control goes over to XSET. With 2 quick eliminations just like that, Dragon starting to build some momentum, trying to catch Cold off spawn, but he takes him down. That's a big elim for Cold playing as the Juggernaut, because now it forces everybody to focus on him, allowing the rest of the members of XSET to spawn up and get back into play.
Dragon now with control, 21 to almost 21. Tables are turning here as Dragons continuing to hold on. Cold now pushing up closer and closer. XSET is now going to look for the aggression for the main push to try and retake this hard point. Will it be enough, though, as main players from the Dragon roster are getting cracked, but Romero picks up one. Edgy goes down as well. This could be huge for Dragons.
Yeah, they need to continue this tempo, this momentum, how fast they're actually playing, and keep XSET off both of their feet. They have an early lead for Dragon, already playing for this next hill, but XSET does have a few angles they're trying to use to try to battle off the members of Dragon, but that first defensive stop's going to come through. Even with Muzz getting a singular elimination, that's a little bit of blessing for Dragon, because now they're going to get more utilities, but unfortunately, iTroll wasn't able to get the elimination, which opens up this opportunity for XSET.
Cold now on the aggression, takes out one, takes out 3 as he continues his push. Hard point captured. Now all they need to do is hold on. iTroll trying to do what he can, but Cold does not miss a single shot.
Picking up where he left off on that map number 1. Trying to get this hill time here. Get the lead back for Dragons. Just 1 foot in front of the other. You don't have to get the mountain of time all at once, but Dragons doing a good job of fighting back, but very little time on this hill. That means everybody's going to have to rotate straight on over to the other side of the map. XSET does look like they're going to be the first ones there.
Cold with another elimination, brought up to 8 as he continues to take his shots, but he is going to go down as now Romero is going to continue with the push.
This is going to be their best chance to continue to try to build that momentum up and keep the lead intact. That's going to be the biggest thing for this team.
Rituals now going to throw on the dynamite. This is going to be the aggression from the roster, but they got to be careful. The flank came through. iTroll connecting his shots, is able to pick up 2, but he goes down shortly after. Randu goes down as well, and now XSET once again going to continue with their push and make kind of the comeback in terms of the hard point here. If they're able to hold on, but Lua, is he not going to let that one slide?
Yeah, I think right now Lua is just kind of waiting. He knows there's a little bit of time left on the hill. They know that XSET got that spawn, so he's just trying to catch him on this next rotation. A couple of shots are going to get fired through. Slows XSET down just a little bit, and even with Muzz going down, that's going to be the opportunity. They finally wrap around. They clean up those eliminations they got the early damage on, and giving them a huge start here in the 4th hill.
This is very close, Jacob. I'm impressed by both teams today. XSET, I thought, would almost get a clean sweep onto Dragons, but what we're seeing right now from Dragons is absolutely incredible. Edgy now gonna be on the hard point, has to be careful as utility has been used. Romero's gonna go down though. iTroll's just a shot away from getting eliminated, and now Randu is gonna be the last one up on Dragons to try and do what he can to get his way towards the hard point. It's gonna look like a regroup has to come through from Dragons here.
Yeah, it's going to be a must, and they got to do it on this next hill. Less than 10 seconds remain on this 5th hill. It's going to go over to the other side, directly towards their left for XSET, but it does look like Dragon gets that early spawn. So what XSET's going to do, they're going to push up. They're going to clean out the remainder of these Dragon players left around the map, and then use this man advantage to crash onto the hill.
This is huge for XSET if they're able to successfully get this push, but huge utility coming from Dragons, cracking almost the whole XSET roster. Is now HP and shield advantage, I would say, was on Dragons' end, but as quickly as you can flip a coin, Dragons now are in danger as Edgy picks up one more with just 2 HP to spare.
Yeah, and XSET, this has kind of been one of their slower maps throughout their progression to the Esports World Cup. Hard point is where they have had a little bit of struggles, but to start this game off, first couple of hills were Dragon Esports. Since then, it's been XSET up until this point where Dragon is doing a good job of answering back. We're kind of relatively tied between these two teams, and another great fight being put up for Dragon. With less than 10 seconds remain, these eliminations on rotation are going to be important for XSET to gain this early hill control.
It's incredibly close. As a reminder, it is first to 250 points for the hard point, and it is looking neck to neck right now as XSET picks up one more. Lua is low as the push is going to come through, but Romero doing a great job holding on strong.
Yeah, as the marksman player, he's got to be kind of the defining factor, but he gets taken down just on the edge. Randu's going to fall as well. The rest of the members of XSET pounce. That's going to be 3 straight eliminations for Cold as he starts to spree on this hill. And it's the first hill, the reset hills here. And with 30 seconds left, Dragons has to make the decision. Do I turtle back, play for hill number 2 where we can get most of our time, or do I make one last effort to try to contest this hill?
The crucial decisions that the IGL is going to have to make to lead their team to victory, as Cold is just securing the last points that they can from this hard point before the next one appears. iTroll, though, is going to not let that one slide as Cold gets taken out. iTroll now on the point as he takes out another, but Romero is ahead of the game as now they hold on to the second hard point.
Yeah, even iTroll, he just went down to Cold, but he staggered out Muzz yet again. iTroll's going to get the easy spawn just towards their right. He can be back in the game much quicker, but Randu gets beamed. Shields get dropped. A lot of utility being expended to try to keep him at bay. XSET finally pours into the hill, but Cold gets a trade. He goes down. A lot of it is favoring Dragon, with Ritual being one of the only members alive on this side of the map. Connects with a snipe shot, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 30 seconds left. The rest of the members of XSET, they're trying to do the exact same thing that happened to them. Pour into the hill with the last bit of life they have left.
This is extremely scary for XSET if they're not gonna be able to hold on to the point, but so far they do have the control. Dragons now looking to make another push as it's all up to Muzz and Edgy. Muzz gets cracked, Edgy's cracked as well. Rituals has gone down. This could be enough for Dragons to continue on and claim the point once again.
And that could be a little bit of depressing, but depending on where Muzz actually gets to spawn towards the bar. Cold just going out wide. Romero's trying to cut him off. He does have reinforcements, but he takes the 1v1 and goes down. Edgy go ahead and gets that elimination. Just trying to reinforce XSET's presence on this side of the map. You see how far they're actually going, flopping the spawn. So XSET will get control here with Dragon having to make a push.
Edgy the only one on point now. EMP is coming through every type of utility to try and get him off as iTroll looks for another angle. Edgy finally goes down. Rituals with an insane snipe, though, could be enough to cause XSET to now continue with their aggression, but Randu needs to connect his shots if he wants to hold on.
Yeah, Romero just lands the snipe shot on the Edgy. Doesn't even get him a chance fresh off the respawn. The angles are finally in. Cold, even though he went down to the distraction, allowed for XSET to push up just like this. Contest the last little bit of hill time that is left in a match that is this close between these two teams. Dragon Esports just needs 28 points to win, and XSET taking a late game lead.
I'm starting to get nervous. First to 250. Both teams incredibly close to taking it home as Rituals now is going to attempt to throw a dynamite, but he's got to be careful. Drop the 36 HP. Randu's fully cracked now as he looks for a right-hand peek angle here. Can it be enough to take out Cold? Gets the crack, but Rituals now with the assist as it's all about stalling. He gets the first elimination, takes out Rituals as well. Randu, are you kidding me?
That would have been the game moment right there for Dragons if they could win both of those eliminations. Edgy trying to make the last stop. Less than 10 seconds left. Randu's going to go down. A late stop from XSET. They need 20 seconds. 20 seconds is all they need, and there's more than that on this hill.
Just 7 more points for Dragons, but XSET are not going to let that one slide. Eliminations from Dragons, eliminations from XSET. This could be the final battle to see who takes it home.
XSET cannot win on this hill, but neither can Dragons at this point. Edgy is already trying to overextend to the next one, but he gets beamed, just a sliver of HP left. He does have reinforcements, but Dragon is quickly attacking onto that hill. Romero instantly goes down. Muzz gets traded out after getting 2, but it's not going to be enough. XSET gets to the hill first, and they steal away that win at the last seconds.
With a 6-point difference, 244 points for Dragons. XSET is going to close it out with just a couple seconds at the end with 250. You can see that it was too close for comfort. you can look at Muzz, look at Edgy, Rituals, Cold. They're happy that they won, but I think they thought it was going to be a lot easier, Jacob.
Yeah, their happiness that they won lasted at all of 2 seconds, because now they're wondering, why are these games that close? The CTF, map number 1, the hardpoint, where they were down. The majority of this hardpoint, they were trailing to Dragon Esports, and it took a big comeback, and it was late. It was very, very late in the game. XSET on those last 2 hills, they made perfect rotations. They got the eliminations that matter, and I thought this for Randu was going to be the moment they won, but Muzz and Cold entered into the hill. They contested it the last second, got over for the rotation for XSET as well. Perfectly played at the end.
What a way to close out the hard point. I'm still shaking from that last match, Jacob. Capture the flag, hard point, both incredibly close matches. You can see the devastation from Dragons, but this isn't a moment to put your head down, especially if you're Dragons. You're playing against, I would say, the fan favorite roster going into the Esports World Cup, and the matches being that close just shows that the level Dragons are at.
Yeah, and I want to go ahead and shout out Ramiro one time, the marksman player. He is hitting some shots today. From what we've seen in Game 1, capture the flag, bringing that over to Game 2 on the hard point. I just want to see him kind of keep that consistency up. It is going to be a newer map, Keeper on Taverna, so it is an interesting way it plays. And from what I've seen from XSET, they are very, very good on this map, but already we've been surprised. I wouldn't say we've been upset just yet, but we are so close. We are so close to Dragons upsetting XSET on one of these maps.
Quick reminder on how the Keeper game mode works. Basically, it's first to 150 points. The way you get points is you pick up that key. That will grant you 1 point per second. So it's all about just keeping hold of that key. If you're the opposing team, then you want to eliminate the player that has that key. And once you have that key, you do get a little speed nerf, so you can't walk as fast. And if there ends up being a big point difference, the team that has significantly lower points will get 2 points per second instead of 1. So it's an interesting game mode to be played out, and I'm curious to see if it's going to be as close to these most recent matches we just saw.
Yeah, and I got to be wondering, like, how is XSET feeling with some of these close matches? Are they still as confident as when they stepped onto that stage to start the day? On the other side, you see there's all smiles. There's all smiles on Dragons. They're probably performing very, very well. Unfortunately, they're just not able to get these wins. But if you're able to kind of shut out the negativity, even in some of these losses, continue to build that confidence, figure out a way to get their momentum on their side. We saw throughout that map, Dragons was leading the majority of the time and was so close to actually picking up that win and getting us to a tie series at 1-1. If they can continue to channel that, I'm excited. I'm just excited. This is only Game 1. This is only day 1 of the Esports World Cup featuring Fortnite, and I am excited.
I'm actually, I mean, it's funny to see Dragons almost smiling more than XSET, and they lost the most recent 2 matches. But taking a look at the scoreboards from the recent match, iTroll was actually the elimination leader with 25 eliminations. Right behind him was Cold with 24 eliminations. So capture the flag, Cold dominated, and now in hardpoint, iTroll was the leader by 1 elim. The rest of the Dragon roster had 16, 14, and 17, and the rest of the XSET roster was 20 eliminations from Muzz, 18 from Edgy, 14 from Rituals. So it was pretty close this time around. There wasn't a clear kind of elimination gap, and you could tell by how close the match actually was with the hardpoint.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you, especially, you know, hardpoint being one of XSET's weaker game modes. Doesn't really matter the map. I expect them to kind of get better on that as the weekend does progress, and they get each and every match underneath their belt. But Dragon, man, I still can't say enough about these guys. If they can pinpoint a spot on this map, there are a few different spots where you can lock down that key, and it just ends up being just a full chaotic battle in order to just slip one player through, let alone the whole team. If they could win a lot of those fights, get Ramiro in a position to hit these marksman sniper shots, I think we're going to see an extended series with them winning this next map.
It's what you love to see. I like these close matches, Jacob. It's exciting to watch the top North American teams go against the top Latin American teams. This is the only place you're going to see it happen. And as quickly as that, Jacob, we're starting out with the 3rd match of the day on Keeper, XSET versus Dragons Esports.
Little key down in the center of the map. Cold is going to get one of the first eliminations of the game, along with Edgy. That's allowing XSET to push up. And Cold is just being that distraction, seeing where the shots are coming from. He's going to push forward. Muzz is going to be the first one for XSET in the game to start to gather that time on the clock.
Muzz continuing to hold on strong. Now it's all about his team to help keep it up. But as iTroll gets closer and closer, Romero with the flank. Cold is going to be the one, the protector, the guardian angel for Muzz, as Muzz is eventually, I was going to say he goes down, but he does not go down as he continues to hold up this key.
You got Cold, you got Edgy watching different angles, and look at where Muzz is actually bringing it to these narrow corridors, these hallways that have very little passageways to go through, and that's where he's allowing Edgy and Cold to start to feel comfortable. Even Ritual chaining together too. So even though Dragons was able to finally burst through the defense of XSET, it came at a cost, and now they got a chance to finally put some score on the board.
43 is a great hold to start it off for XSET, but now the Dragons roster is grouped up. They've got their defense. The VIP is put on deck, but iTroll is going to go down. This is the danger the Dragons was not looking for, as Muzz picks up another as well. They've only gotten 20 points so far, and it looks like Romero might just be the last one standing, making a run for it.
Yeah, if he's going to go down, he needs to put the key in this part of the map that is easily accessible, but goes down in the hallway, almost giving up a good setup to XSET. This is very similar to where they were getting the majority of that time, as iTroll got brought down to 6 HP, but he's not going to back out of the fight completely. Gets one elimination, but it's instantly answered back by XSET. They're basically saying, hey, anything you could do, I can do better.
As Cold now bumped up to 9 eliminations. This is looking a lot more heavily in the side of XSET compared to Hardpoint and Capture the Flag, but all it takes is one good push from Dragons to make a comeback. And also as a reminder, if there's a big enough of a difference between the points, the losing team will get 2 points per second instead of 1. So there's always that opportunity for a comeback on the Keeper game mode, and Dragons now have picked up the key once more.
It's their chance that they need at least a good 50 seconds here. They don't have to necessarily gain the lead, but XSET is almost more than halfway there from taking this first round. So they need to start building that time on up, and already a lot of these eliminations going in way of XSET. And as we look on, Ritual already has the key back on his back, with XSET about to eclipse that 100-point mark.
Shots come through, unable to connect from Dragon, but XSET's already at 105 points, so you know the pressure is going to be on for Dragons. They need to change something up here. They need to make something happen. If they end up losing this match, XSET will take the overall victory, as Cole now continues to try and push up to Lua here. He is incredibly low, grouped up with his partners, but Cold is not going to let that one slide as Rituals continues to push through. Rituals might just go down here, though. One shot away, the elimination is going to get picked up. Muzz now with the flank as Lua continues to run away.
Yeah, he knows that his teammate's not there to play defense. Instantly falls. Nice utility coming out from Cold, cutting off the other side, allowing for Muzz to get that key in his inventory yet again. You see, has locked himself down in that basement. Very few entrances for Dragons to try to go through, and with 2 more eliminations, they're keeping the numbers in their favor. 20 seconds away from a round 1 victory.
We saw them use this basement before. It's a great place to kind of hide. The issue is, if the full push comes in from Dragons, it might just be enough to take out Muzz, but Muzz is connecting every shot he needs to. He goes down, ultimately though, to Lua, and now Dragon once again have hold of the key, but for how long?
Yeah, they need to chain together a lot of time here. 5 seconds is all that XSET needs, so it's picture perfect is a must from here on out. But already Edgy just moves in, gets the elim, quickly grabs the key, and he unlocks the door for a victory in round number 1.
XSET gets that 150-point threshold to close it out. You can see not even a single celebration coming from XSET. They know that the job's not done. And these have been some incredibly close matches. To be fair, that was the least close one out of all of them. They were able to hold on strong in the Keeper game mode. So we'll see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, hopefully they can make some quick adjustments here for round number 2. They were finally able to get some time, but it just came in small little glimpses of hope coming out from Dragons of what we know they can play like. It's just reaching that full potential on a consistent basis as Edgy They get one. Randu goes down as well. XSET already turning the numbers in their favor as the bait and switch comes in from Muzz. With only Edgy fallen, XSET already off to a good start.
Continuing with the shots, it looks like could have a potential repeat in the last keeper round as the snipe comes through from Rituals. Romero taken out. Another snipe being connected. XSET now momentum showing. It looks like they are finally on fire. They finally were able to lock in and show why they're one of the favorite orgs going in to the Esports World Cup.
I swear it's been like 5, 6, 7 straight eliminations by XSET as a whole before Romero finally shuts down that momentum. Lua is trying to go in. The bait and switch is out. A cluster towards the backline to get Edgy out of position. That's going to be successful, but a quick reposition out of Ritual. With all those eliminations going their way, it felt comfortable for Cold to spawn up, getting positioned to try to turn the tides back.
Snipes coming through. Romero unable to connect though. Already 52, 53 points just from the first keyhold here on to XSET. This is exactly what they need to close it out.
You can see they instantly push forward. They know exactly where Dragons is at. They push forward. They take the fight to them, which means it's not going to get close to Ritual. And even when it does, he lines up some shots like that.
Whoa.
Quickly shields him, forcing him back. Lua even just dropped down to just a sliver of HP. Multiple players just failing to rise to the occasion. But unfortunately enough, the only Elim is going to be on Ritual. So for a quick moment, XSET will not be gaining any time.
Looking to see if an angle can be found. Randu holding on to the key, looking to make the comeback happen. Unfortunately, Cold is not going to let that one slide. 28 eliminations, trying to break his record of the day from Capture the Flag. It was at 35, and it looks like shortly he might be able to pass that.
35 of 24. Cold is just putting up numbers, and you can see why he's a must grab for the XSET roster. Dragon grabbing some time. Bubble shield going down. They're trying to protect themselves, but Muzz goes in, gets the quick elimination. Nice snipe onto Cold, but wasn't able to save his teammate. Now Romero's in trouble. Cold turns, burns, takes him down. The key is back in the inventory of XSET as he's up to 30 eliminations.
Dragons now getting a bit split up here. They're gonna have to have a full regroup as Lua does a great job to take out Cold. Rest of the XSET roster is low, but Lua is waiting for his team to get back and close as Romero hits a huge slide snipe, but Cold is gonna finish the job.
Yeah, see, Dragons versus XSET. Dragons is doing a good job of putting up fights in these individual battles, but XSET is trying to make sure they're doing their best that none of these battles are actual individual battles. They always have help around every corner. Ritual knows one side's being watched, quickly turns around, sees the whole army just trying to full rush him in. He goes down, but the rest of XSET is there to ease the tide and keep the key under their control.
35 for Cold, looking like a stomp currently in this potential last match of Keeper, as Muzz now is going to be the one that's picked up the key. Kind of trying to play angles here as he has the right hand peek. Going to take out iTroll, but he is a little low now.
Just having a little fun right now. Just have a little fun. His teammates are doing all the work. There's not much for him to do except to dance, celebrate. I was going to say it might be a little bit too early, but 5 seconds left on the clock. Nobody from Dragons is even in earshot. Muzz will make sure to reach 150, and with that, XSET will close out the series 3-0.
Great way to finish it off, but you can see, although they did win, in the back of their head, they're kind of thinking, you know, that was quite close. They were expecting a
এবার খেলাতে রান করতে পারছে শেষমেশ। জিএক্সিরা কি করতেছে, মেবি এখানে রিঅ্যাকশন মানে রিভাইভ দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করতেছে, আর জিএক্সি রেঞ্জার এখানে সেভ দিতেছে। সিজি এর ভিতর শুধুমাত্র সিজি কাউসার ভাই বাচ্চা আছে, কাউসার ভাই শুধুমাত্র বাচ্চা আছে।
まあもう一回このおさらいをしながら、
そうですね、
はい、やっていけるかどうかというところ
ちょっと
ですね。
編集長に
He's being reserved with these peaks, and rightly so. The most south point of this hold. It's difficult to get the regroup here, but it looks like they're going to bolster. Ida potentially moving in behind this push for Alpha 7, so third parties could be dangerous.
Oh, here we go. Alpha 7 moves up. Kirill stays alive miraculously. Are you kidding me? Ign-youtube loses one. Tamara's down. An amazing set of circumstances. Revo may be tempting the revive, and he will fully commit to it. The fact that Alpha 7 manages to get that knock is spectacular. Kirill the bait, Revo the shot. Ign-youtube takes the opportunity to reposition.
Ida in the background, they haven't struck here. It's a little bit of lost time for them. This could have been a nice opening for them. Two of their opposing teams in their way did go down or lose a player, have a casualty, but they're just backing off of this fight entirely.
Honestly, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. Get away from this engagement. I think if it would have popped off a bit more, Ida would have been more aggressive, right, and getting in there and getting the cleanups. But when they noticed Alpha 7 was able to get picked up back on their feet, there wasn't a lot of damage to Ign-youtube, -1 knock. They said, okay, maybe this isn't our time. Granted, it's not going to be any easier trying to go dead center, and they're sending it dead center into Gamex to the solo of Corona. They're going straight past APG. They're going in to XTMG, but all eyes once again on this Alpha 7 Ign-youtube fight. Ign-youtube does not want to give up their ground. They don't have to, but Alpha 7 have to continually move forward. Squash Mafioso from the distance. Revel Carrillo being the tip of the spears to push up. This is going to be a tough fight. They already scuffled a bit. Mind you, both teams get back on their feet, all four of them, so it's still a 4v4.
They're going to have to get out of there. In the meantime, Ida's crash has not gone well. Ida have lost one at least. I think the nades are continuing to pour on through. AXTMG, they have the sideline angle from the east point of their 2-2 hold. They have the north side of the road on the compound, and they have Alpha Gaming, who have those shots down the hill towards the back approach of Ida. It's only one player now standing for Ida. It was a Hail Mary. They wasted their time on the south. I think the call should have been roll over Alpha 7, try and move it on in. But as it stands, they're going to have to try and snake it out. In the meantime, Nongshim, they've been slowly executing this northwestern side well. They have been moving through this ground, this terrain, and been vigilant with it. Sure, they've lost a player, but they're on 6 elims. Not too many other players are in their location as well.
Well, Thunder Talk started with our first Bloods taking down Alter Ego Ares, the team who was phenomenal yesterday, and now they run into a full, like you said, Nogsham Red Force, who have been dismantling the left side of the map. AJ from Thunder Talk, the last alive, the solo standing, trying to get any additional points that he possibly can. Again, every single point you gain is critical. They're currently sitting at 50, which I believe puts them close to the
quickly, though.
Well, for what it's worth, you gave him 45 seconds originally, then I said 2 minutes, and then he ended up almost dismantling Alpha. But he did his part. R8 behind a wall, taking nade after nade. Weibo's been relatively quiet this game, currently sitting at 0 eliminations, but this is the time where they start to wake up. The zones get close.